Every few days, it feels like another big company announces a net zero pledge 2030, 2040, 2050. It's starting to sound like a corporate checklist.
Yeah, but here's the thing, a pledge is the easy part. The real challenge, turning that bold promise into a real, actionable roadmap that cuts carbon emissions across the board.
Hi, my name is Akshat Roy, a strategy consultant at LyraCorp, and today we are diving into the differences between pledging net zero and truly delivering on it. We'll explore what credible net zero strategies look like, hear case studies of companies leading the way, and call out the pitfalls that too many businesses are still falling into. To discuss this with me today is Mr. Ritik Raj, an associate consultant at LyraCorp.
Hi Akshat. Moving on, if we want a livable planet, companies can't just aim for a net zero. They need to go beyond it. Let's get started.
Right, Ritik. Everywhere you look now, companies are pledging to hit net zero by 2050, by 2040, and even by 2030. It's impressive, but pledges alone won't save the planet.
Exactly. What matters is action, not announcements. The Science Based Targets Initiative, for example, makes it clear net zero requires real, measurable emissions cuts across the value chain, not just offsets.
Absolutely. And moving beyond the pledge starts with translating ambition into a science based, actionable roadmap. Without that, a net zero pledge is just corporate greenwashing.
You know, Akshat, let's break this down today. How companies can build real net zero strategies, and we will dive into a few cases studies that are doing it right now.
Perfect. Maybe we start by defining what net zero truly means in a strategic context.
That's a good point. Net zero means balancing the greenhouse gases emitted and removed from the atmosphere. But as per the SBTi net zero standard, the focus must be on decarbonization first, at least 90 to 95% cuts, before relying on any carbon removal or offsetting.
And importantly, it's not just about scope 1 emissions, your direct emissions, but scope 2 and scope 3 too. That's electricity use and all your upstream and downstream supply chains.
Exactly, Axel. Scope 3 can be 70 to 90% of company's footprint. Ignoring it would be like a trying to clean your house but ignoring all the dirt under the rug.
True.
Alright, so companies need a clear plan. Step 1, baseline emissions inventory. You can't just manage what you don't measure.
Step 2, set science based interim targets, not just a distant 2050 goal, rather small targets like for 2025, 2030, and so on.
Step 3, defining decarbonization levers. For example, transition to renewable energy, electrify transport fleets, redesign products to lower life cycle emissions, work with suppliers to do decarbonize.
And step 4, investment and governance. You need dedicated climate budgets and executive accountability linked to sustainability KPIs.
That's so true. A net zero goal without funding is just wishful thinking.
Let's talk about some real world examples.
Sure, one inspiring case is Mahindra Group in India. They are embedding climate action into their business units and aim to become carbon neutral by 2040, a full decade earlier than the global net zero push.
Yes, and what's powerful is they are investing heavily into EV manufacturing, green steel pilots, and renewable energy for factories, not just buying carbon credits.
Another example is Apple. Their 2030 carbon neutrality plan is laser focused on product lifecycle emissions. Every iPhone, every device, carbon neutral by design.
Right, and Apple's forcing their entire supply chain to transition to renewables. That's leadership and leverage.
Coming closer to home, India's own lifestyle for environment launched by Prime Minister Narendra Modi is another exciting move. It pushes for not just corporate but consumer behavioral change because supply and demand are two sides of the same climate coin.
Absolutely. Behavior change is an underestimated stated tool in the net zero arsenal.
Now, not every company is getting it right. Common mistakes are
1. Ever reliance on offsets. Planting trees is great, but it can't substitute cutting real emissions.
2. Vague targets without baselines or interim milestones. You can't just say net zero by 2050 and not show your math.
3. Lack of internal alignment. If sustainability is just the CSR department's problem, the company will fail.
And 4. Underestimating scope 3 emissions, the hidden iceberg beneath the corporate ship.
The reality is, net zero is not even enough anymore. Scientists argue we need to move beyond net zero to state of net negative emissions by mid-century to repair the climate damage we have already done.
Exactly, Aksar. Companies should start building regenerative strategies, not just do no harm, but actively heal. Through circular economy modules, carbon removal technologies, and nature based solutions.
And public-private partnerships will be key. We can't tackle a planetary crisis in isolated silos.
Well said, Akshar. I think if companies start thinking of net zero not as a destination but as a continuous innovation journey, we have a fighting chance.
So, to all the companies listening, it's time to move from aspiration to action, from pledge to plan, and from net zero to regenerative leadership. Because the planet and your future customers are watching.
Until the next time, keep strategizing for a greener future. Thank you.